Let's go. Welcome back into the Skooshi Sports Podcast and the continuation of our NRL team season preview for 2026. And in this episode here, we are previewing the Cronulla Sharkies for 2026. Come off, you could probably say, I guess it was a successful year for the Sharkies, reaching a prelim, losing down in Melbourne there. Had a pretty good effort down there as well. One game away from the grand final. So sort of similar position to where they were in 2024. They finally broke their finals, the finals back, winning a game in 2024 and then won two in this year in 2025. I'm sure they'll be looking to go one more better than that, if not maybe four. Obviously, if they finish in the top four, you only have to win 3 games to go win the premiership. So definitely potential there for the Sharkies there, in my opinion, heading into 2026. This is going to be one of the easier previews I pretty much do, I'd say, for 2026. They haven't really signed anyone, haven't really lost too many players, and their 1-17 hardly really changes at all. And that's sort of the beauty when it comes to the Sharkies. If they've had almost the same 1-17, it's felt like for the last 3, 4, even 5 years now since Nicho Hynes has stepped in there at the 7 role. A couple little changes here and there, but the main thing is the spine and a lot of their players have continuing to re-sign there, which is a really good sign for them as a culture and a club and what Fitzgibbon is doing there as a team and as a coach. And they just sort of seem to be getting a little bit better and better every year. You feel like when it comes to finals and relishing sort of that pressure, they did sort of struggle for the first few years there. We know with Nicho Hynes, we know all about him in the headlines. He should be dropped. He should be playing at 13. He should be coming off the bench. He should be playing this. He's literally the best player on the team. In my opinion, he should be playing 7. He deserves 7. No questions asked there for me. I'm a big Nicho guy, but come on, guys. Let's just be serious here. He should be the 7. He runs this team, and his attack is so good on the day when we get to watch it. But if you have missed my ladder prediction video going back from about a month ago now, I did a really, really early ladder predictor. I had the Sharkies coming in at 3rd. And just for the purpose of all these team previews, I've kept my ladder predictor and where I think they were exactly the same. So I have them coming in at 3rd for 2026. I do think they'll make the top 4. I think there's probably a clear-cut top 4 teams, in my opinion, heading into 2026 season. A top 4 sort of juggernaut sort of team heading into next year. They'll just be sort of clear cut above the rest. And I think the Sharkies fit into that top 4. They've got a pretty favourable draw as well, which we'll speak into a little bit later. But I just think I just love how the squad is just stuck together for quite a while now, like longer than a lot of other teams you see. Like the Panthers have lost players over time. The Storm have lost players coming into 2026. We know like the Broncos, after they made a grand final in 2023, they lost some players as well. There's always players moving around, even in the good teams. That's how the salary cap works. But there's a lot of Sharkies players that don't mind signing a little bit unders to stay, knowing that there is potentially a premiership around the corner. So what I do in my season previews, guys, if you have not looked at any of the other previous ones, I think we're up to our 7th team now. I think what have we done? Off the top of the dome, Cowboys, Warriors, Raiders, Doggies, Dolphins, and Manly off the top of the dome there. So heading to Sharkies here, I'll have another one coming for you at the same time when this one is released, which will be the Tigers, the West Tigers of 2026. But in these season previews, I go through obviously my ladder predictor, looking at a 2025 recap, sort of where they finished on the ladder, how many games they won, look how many sort of points they scored and where that ranked. And then looking at the 2026 gains and losses player-wise, who they've really signed, any marquee signings, any sort of big players that they've also lost going to another team. And then we're going to look at their best 1-17 on paper and having a look at the rest of their top 30. And then finishing off having a look at their draw as well, how that shapes up for 2026. But without further ado, let's jump into the Sharkies preview to 2026. So as I said, we have got them coming in at 3rd, I think, for 2026 in that top 4 there. So this year, they finished in 5th. So they won 15 and lost 9. They hosted a home final in the first round against the Roosters, bowled them over, and then went down to Canberra in the elimination final and knocked them over as well. which is very, very impressive. And I get it, the Raiders didn't have Ethan Strange, but honestly, it was such a dominant performance, in my opinion, that Ethan Strange, if he did make a difference, I think the Sharkies still win that game. It was really impressive to watch a full 80-minute performance from there, in my opinion there. And honestly, I thought they were real solid in the prelim as well. Look, Nico kind of went missing a little bit here and there, but I don't want to pinpoint just one person in that team. As a team effort, and the Storm were the better team on that night there. If they made the grand final, I don't think they would have beaten the Broncos there. The Broncos would have just been too good, in my opinion. But as I said, finishing 5th this year, 115, lost 9. Looking at their attack, scored 599 points. This ranked them in 6th for the comp. So if you look, they finished 5th, pretty close to sort of attack finishes to where they finished on the ladder. And points conceded, they conceded 490, which ranked in the top 4, ranked 4th. So you look at 6th, you look at 4th, average it out, you get 5th. And that's exactly where they finished. So pretty much ended up like exactly where I guess the Sharkies should have been. It's not like they fluked a couple games. We know they can sort of have some real flat spots, the Sharkies here and there, but then they can absolutely dish it up and really turn it on against, probably a little bit of the lower teams. We know they're kind of like a flat track bully team here and there, but they also had some cracking wins. They beat the Storm. They smashed the Storm, I believe, at home this year. They beat the Doggies as well. So they've had some really, really good wins as well, the Sharkies. Obviously, first game up was in Vegas this year against Penrith. Didn't quite get over the line there, but thought still put up a pretty respectable effort. All right, looking at their 2026 gains and losses, and I said it's going to be one of the easier previews I do because they have really done not a whole lot in the offseason, but it's not like they've really done a whole lot in previous season either. And honestly, for 2026, they haven't lost anyone. They haven't really signed anyone for any other team. There's literally none for 2026 gains, which is quite incredible. Looking at other teams that I've done previously, it's either at least 3, 4, 5, maybe even 6 there. So yeah, haven't really signed anyone from any clubs anywhere in 2026, using a lot of their development players from New South Wales Cup, which I think is really, really cool, right? It shows a testament to how strong their foundation is within the club as well, in getting their New South Wales Cup built up and wanting them to sign on and play NRL as well. And I will talk about that in a little bit as well. Sort of a couple players we'll look to sort of talk about coming in 2026. Looking at the losses for 2026, there's 3 guys that they've lost. I'm going to mention 2 of these. First one is Daniel Atkinson. So Daniel Atkinson, handy replacement for Nico when he did come in, or even Trindle. Not like he was actually a starting half or in the starting 13 for the Sharkies a lot in 2025. Came in off the bench a little bit here and there. Did make quite a bit of a bench impact for the Sharkies. Will the Sharkies sort of miss him coming into 2026? No, I don't think so. I definitely think it's a bigger gain for the Dragons than it is a loss for the Sharkies there. Your next one on the list is Kade Dykes heading off to the Doggies. So if you weren't aware, I thought there was generally like almost like 3 really talented fullbacks happening at the Sharkies in 2025. You had Will Kennedy, the fullback there at the moment. You had Kade Dykes, who's now off to the Doggies, and you had Liam Eisen as well. So those two are really talented in New South Wales Cup. Kade Dykes and Liam Eisen both suffered injuries this year, long-term injuries in New South Wales Cup, I'm fairly certain. So Liam Eisen has stayed on with the Sharkies, and now Kade Dykes is off to the Doggies, which I think is a really handy signing for the Doggies in the future. I can definitely see him playing fullback. And I think for Liam Eisen, I think it's really good competition for Will Kennedy to have someone there at fullback. We know that there was talks at the start of this season before Vegas that he actually got named in the first trial match for the Sharkies with no other starting Sharks players, which is really unusual. And we kind of all thought in the NRL sort of world, is Will Kennedy not going to start in Vegas? Is he not going to be the fullback? But honestly, he got his opportunity in Vegas. And he was stellar, I thought, for the Sharks and most of the games in 2025 there. Really a lot more improved than what we have seen in previous years with Will Kennedy, which is really good to see because I think Sharkies, they've got I think Trindle's good enough. I think obviously Blake Brayley is killing it. They've now got the forward pack. Their backs are sublime. I think Hines is good enough. And it's just, I thought whether is obviously Trindle and Kennedy good enough to go then win a premiership. I think Kennedy is kind of getting really close to that level where he can think he's good enough to go win a premiership. And I hope we do see that confidence from him in 2026. However, if he's not good enough, I can easily see Liam Eisen stepping in and doing a job for the Sharkies there as well. Forgot to mention as well, Craig Fitzgibbon, obviously the coach of the Sharkies. He is contracted to the end of 2027. I would be very surprised if that doesn't get extended this year or the year after. I think he's doing a stellar job down there. I think he's got the team he wants. He's just literally a premiership away from making this all a success. All right, heading into the best 1 to 17 for the Sharkies heading into round 1 in 2026. When I say best 1 to 17, I'm going to say it's best 1 to 17 available for round 1. Just a side note, we do know that Cameron McInnes and Ronaldo Mulatalo have suffered ACL injuries. McInnes was at the end of the NRL regular season this year. I believe he's going to be back. It's ETA is like round 1 to 7. It's very open at the moment. I would say there's no need for them to rush him back. I think they've got a pretty relatively easy draw to start. I can see him come back like round 4 or 5 around there. And then you got Ronnie Mulatalo, who unfortunately did his ACL playing for the Kiwis in the Pac Champs. I would probably say he's going to be out close to a lot of the regular season, which it's absolutely sucks, right? We know what Mulatalo can bring to the NRL and bring to the Sharks team. Just the energy that he brings to the Sharks team is fucking incredible. Killer winger, killer finisher, killer in the high ball there. They have got a pretty handy replacement there in Sammy Stonestreet there, who I think should start there on the wing in my opinion. But yeah, absolute killer blow for the Sharkies there with Mulatalo. So he should be back for around that finals time. I'm not sure they're going to try and rush him back. I'm not quite sure how his rehab is going there. But we'll obviously keep you updated as the season does go. But let's have a look at that best 1 to 17, how I think they will line up for round 1. Obviously, pending a couple changes that we'll see later in the year. So, fullback, still sticking with Will Kennedy there. That will be his position until he shows a bit of poor form. But I said, stellar year from I thought from him this year, which is really good to see, as I said. Heading into their wingers, got Siona Katoa there, obviously on the right side, and then on the left side, Katoa on the left. We're going to go Sammy Stonestreet on the right there. Sammy Stonestreet, he's played a handful of NRL games this year, last year as well. Steps in and he does an absolute killer job as well for the Sharkies. So really excited to see what the season does hold now for Stonestreet. Killed it in the New South Wales Cup, and now he's going to get a full season pretty much there on the wing for the Sharkies to relish his opportunity there. We know they've got a guy like Maween Hiroti there that can come in on the wing if there is another injury there, or maybe Stonestreet doesn't really show the form that we've been looking for. They have got handy replacements there ready to go. All right, looking at their centres, we've got Jesse Ramian and KL Iro. No question about these two. KL Iro had a bit of an injury during the year this year, but absolutely came back and was braining it before that. And Jess Ramian, we know what he can do in his day. He is an absolute weapon. Can break tackles, can offload, just try scoring freak he can be. Two very solid centers. Probably one of the best center duos going on in the comp. In your halves there, without question for these two as well. Number 6, we've got Braden Trindle. Look, he had his little deal going on in the middle of the year there where he got busted. But he came back and he proved the point really strong. And in his half partner, Nico Hines, obviously the captain as well. For the Sharkies there, seems like these two, it was really weird this year, right? It seemed like they didn't know. We always feel like before the game that it should be Nico's side. Nico should be running this team. Should be Nico's side. He's run this attack. But then we'd get into these games and be like, Nico's missing. But Trindle is absolutely braining it. He is killing it. And it just seemed like 5 minutes in, they'd just be like, okay, you've got the hot hand. You run the attack for today. And it just seemed to work. We saw some games where Trindle had the hot hand at the start and he would continue having a hot hand. He would score a couple, he would assist a couple, and Hines would just sort of sit back, do his thing kind of thing. And then there'd be some games where Nicho Hines was on and he had the ball and he had the hot hand, and Trindle would just step back and just let Nicho do the talking. And we didn't really see too many games where they're both on at the same time. I kind of felt like it all came together, I guess, in that final against Canberra, where I thought both of them played really well. But I thought it was really strange. A lot of the season, we saw Trindle with the hot hand, or we saw Nicho with the hot hand. It was never like, oh, Nicho's feeling a bit off at the start, let's try and really fight it and try and get him the hot hand. They just sort of both knew, like, you know, they both got their really good qualities between each other. Trindle's not on, give it to Nicho. Nicho's not on, Trindle's got all the trust in the world for him to lead this attack and be able to put points on for Cronulla. I'm kind of picking maybe a similar thing will happen. Maybe it all comes together for these two in 2026. It's kind of nothing like your Munster and Hughes combo where they work really both well together. It's just more like not individualized, but it's just like one steps back and one lets the other do the talking, which I think is really strong and puts a testament to how like strong their team is, that they can put so much trust in the other half to be like, okay, you've got the hot hands. It's like you run the team for today, and they're good enough to still win on that day, which is really cool. Going into their forwards, we've got, without doubt, starting Oregon Kaufusi and Adam Fanua-Blake. So Fanua-Blake into his second year at the Sharkies. Their marquee signing that they had from 2024 coming from the Waz. Into his second year now, I'm expecting him to go a bigger step up for the Sharkies. He was absolutely massive in that final against the Roosters. He came on for that last 25 minutes or something and just absolutely brained it. Really did put a stamp on that Sharkies win there. And in Oregon Kaufusi, getting better and better every single year. Without doubt, they are the two starting props. Your hooker, again, nothing really changes in this 1 to 13 for me here, apart from McInnes at the end. But Blake Brayley, literally the most informed hooker for the last half of this year. He was absolutely braining it. It was just crazy to see the development that we saw from Blake Brayley in round 1 to where we saw him in round 27 and in the finals. And it was so good to see just him like unlock this running game that we hadn't really seen before. And I don't know what happened. He just unlocked it in the one game, just started going at dummy half, kind of like the Harry Grant sort of styles, and just absolutely tore teams apart, and was a big reason for the Sharkies charging home at the end of this year and also winning those two final games as well. Your edge rowers are, again, one of the best edge rower comps, duos going around in the comp. We've got on the right there, Britton Nickera, guy that has probably one of the best line runs in the comp. I would say easily top 5. He can absolutely run a line, man. Holy dooly. On the left, you've got Teague Wilton there as well. Teague Wilton, criticised at the start of this year for his defence coming into it. Absolutely blew everyone away. He really improved on it in the 2024 offseason. I think he's just going to keep getting better and better and better. This is, I said, one of the best edge second rower duos that we've got going around in the comp. Just trying to think of another one that's probably better off the top of the dome. I can't think of one really. If it's not the top, it's easily top 3. When you look at the other teams in top 4, maybe you can put maybe a Siwa Wong and Angus Crichton there up against it. But for me, that is just an absolute beast edge rowers. You got two guys who can score tries, who can defend as well. And it's just insane what they got. They should be keeping them there for a very, very long time if they're smart. And this is pretty much your one change you're going to see in the start of 13 and round 1, that is. And that is Jesse Colquhoun coming into lock position, starting for the Sharkies. If you haven't heard much about Jesse Colquhoun, he's an absolute weapon coming through the comp at the moment. He's been mainly coming off the bench. Hasn't had too many starting opportunities. I think if he gets 4 or 5 games starting at lock, we'll see the real Jesse Colquhoun and how much of an athlete he is. He's an absolute workhorse, an absolute beast. absolutely no problems as a step down going from McInnes to Colquhoun. In my opinion, Colquhoun, nice and young, he's so fit and he's going to be ready to tackle hard, run hard. He's going to be so good for the Sharkies. All right, and your interchange, again, hasn't really changed too much from the starting or from the bench that we saw this year. So at 14, I've gone for Billy Burns there. So Teague Wilton got injured a little bit this year, and Billy Burns stepped in, and holy dooly, he looked incredible. And it's just like, you've already got one of the best second row duos going around in the comp. One of them gets injured. Then you got Billy Burns steps in, and it's like nothing changes. And I was just like, where are they plucking these second rowers from? What are they doing in their systems that makes these second rowers so bloody good? He was incredible for the Sharkies this year. I have no doubt he'll continue that this year. 15, you've got Sifa Talakai. Say less. We know what Talakai can do. Past couple of seasons, he's been coming off the bench for the Sharkies. If we see an injury to Ramian or Iro, we know Sifa can absolutely step in there and have absolute no worries whatsoever. And then in your 16 role, we've got Tommy Hazelton coming off the bench as your other forward there. Again, we've seen it from Tommy Hazelton before. One of the highlights from this year that goes so undervalued and underrated was his try saver against the Dolphins, I believe it was, at Shark Park. I think it was a Thursday game, and the Dolphins put a kick in, and I think it was JMK was in for all money, and Tommy Hazelton off the grubber puts in this hand and just deflects it, deflects it long. I think they ended up getting the dropout back from that one and then going down the other end and scoring off that, and then scored a couple more. It was just really turned the whole point in the game and really sort of defined their season and what the Sharkies mantra was starting to be all about. And then we saw that at the end, winning them 2 finals games, come a long way from where they were in 2021, 22, and 23. And then the number 17 jersey, you've got a guy like Toby Rudolph as well there as well. Pretty much gone for a 4-forward bench there. Blake Bradley, we know he can play the distance. Usually, if something happens to Bradley, you probably see like a guy like maybe McInnes step in there. But 4-forward bench, Toby Rudolph also coming off the bench as that forward role to replace like a guy like Kaufusi, that sort of thing there. But as I said, overall, a very strong 1-17 there for the Sharkies heading to round 1. I think they've got the Titans in round 1 at Shark Park, if I'm not mistaken. And if we have a look at the rest of their squad, it's a lot of depth, right? A lot of depth. So you've still got guys like McInnes and Mulatalo there and the rest of the squad. You've got guys like Michael Gabriel. He's a centre. He plays New South Wales Cup. You got a guy like Herhepa Puru who plays lock as well. We've seen him feature a little bit for the Sharkies. You've got guys like, Chris Vaila, another guy that's come on off the bench for a bit for the Sharkies. Braden Hamlin-Hawele. Holy dooly, he's not even featuring in this team. A guy that can absolutely be a workhorse off the bench as a forward for the Sharkies. Liam Eisen, we spoke about him before as a fullback replacement for Kennedy. If something was to happen, you'd honestly not see the Sharkies team go down at all. I seriously think if Kennedy is not in form to start the season, you'll see some competition there for the Sharkies fullback position. Then you got you guys like Jaden Barrell, Blake Hoskin coming through as well, Niwai Puru as well. So just like such a very deep Sharkies squad, and you can just tell there's something going on in the Sharkies team. They were honestly my pick to win it all at the start of the 2025 season, to beat the Storm in the grand final. I got one grand finalist right. I was pretty close to getting the Sharkies there. There's something happening with this Sharkies team here, and they've just got to get over another hump, winning that prelim finals game to get into the grand final, and then the other hump there as well. I think they're so close to really gelling it all together. It would not shock me to see them easily finish top 4. Would not shock me to see them finish top 2, maybe minor premiers there. They've really got it going with the squad. They're sticking all together, and there must be obviously a reason why that they must know that there's something coming around the corner, whether it's this year. I think next year is like almost maybe the last year, like their last chance that they're in that premiership window. But they are really in the middle of a premiership window at the moment, the Sharkies, which is really exciting. I think obviously winning that comp in 2016. But if we have a quick look at their draw, so as I said, they've pretty much got one of the easier draws of the week. I did a draw analysis video when the draw did come out, and they were in the top 4 or 5 easiest ones that they have at the whole comp. So they've got 10 games at Shark Stadium this year. Obviously, I believe one of those is going is Magic Round. I think they're taking another one to Perth potentially as well. They have one of the shorter travel distances in the comp as well. No 5-day turnarounds. They do have to play the Raiders. They only have to play one top 4 team twice, which is the Raiders, which I think out of the whole top 4 is probably beneficial. Then they've got the Warriors and the Roosters twice as well. So they don't have to play the Storm twice. They don't have to play Penrith twice. They don't have to play the Doggies twice. They don't have to, play... who else have we got? They don't have to... play they do have to play the Roosters twice, but there's literally 4 top 8 teams that they don't have to play twice, which is super advantageous. One team out of the top 4. They play like the Storm at home. I think they play the Panthers at home as well. They get the Storm in round 27, which I think is a huge match. That is essentially a warm-up finals game for them. After that match, they're going to be fully ready to go for finals, because that is going to be a warm-up match for them for finals, getting ready to go. Most likely that would be a position for them, I think, a seeding in the top 4 somewhere. And if you look at the other teams that they played twice, you got the Titans twice, you got the Manly twice, who I don't think would be that great, Souths twice, who might be a bit tricky, Dragons twice, I don't think they'll be that good, and you got the Dolphins twice as well. I've got a lot of winnable games there, and I said they won 15 games this year. They can easily win 15 again. I said you look at maybe one against the Raiders, one against the Warriors, one against the Roosters. They're probably going to go 2-0 against these other bottom 8 teams, most likely. Let's say they probably win like 7 of those 10 games. There's 10 wins there. Then you've got the Storm in the last round. That's a winnable game. Like, there's easily at least 11 wins there already for the Sharkies there, in my opinion. Would have to be a shocking season for that not to happen. Easy a lock for the top 8, no doubt about it. It's just whether this team can finish top 4. Easily the ceiling of minor premiership. Easily the ceiling of winning a premiership this season. I think the floor is still making the top 8. I love the Sharky squad this season. The buys, they've got buys in round 7, which is handy, round 12 and round 17. So I think that's 2 of those in the origin period. They don't lose too many players to the origin period, which is quite handy for the Sharkies. We know Hines probably won't be there. Guys like Kennedy won't be there. Blake Brayley most likely won't be there. And then they've got a lot of internationals in there, like your Eros, like your Katoas, like your Fanua Blakes, like your Nicaras. But the other players are just very solid. So I don't believe they lose anyone really to Origin. Maybe McInnes if he gets picked again, depending how his ACL is going. I love the Sharkies team coming into 2026, man. I've got them. I said that's why I've got them 3rd. I just think they'll be an absolute juggernaut, like regular season juggernaut for 2026. And I really do think they can definitely make the prelim again, and would not shock me to see them in the grand final for 2026. But I said they haven't really made too many signings for 2026. Absolutely none. I've got here on my list a couple losses that we spoke about, but 1 to 17, they're looking very, very strong. But that will do it for the season preview of the Sharkies, the 7th team that is coming out in my season previews. Go check out the other 6 if you haven't seen them. As I said, we've whipped off. We've gone Cowboys, Warriors, Raiders, Manly, Doggies, and the Dolphins as well. So we're pretty much nearly halfway through the season preview. So I've got 2 coming out each week. So got like sort of 4 or 5 more weeks of these coming out, and then we're pretty much got preseason started, which is going to be bloody epic. Cannot wait. But as I said, make sure you check out the other season previews. Make sure you like this video on YouTube as well. Make sure you subscribe to the channel as well. Boy, we're at 57, 56 subscribers now, so building every day, which is cool. Make sure to follow all the socials, all at Skooshi Sports as well, for your daily reels, other sporting happenings that is going on as well. But that will do it for this episode, the Sharky season preview. Thank you so much for watching, and cheers.